And Patty's returned from Chicago. She's back at the White House. So what's the administration going to do? Things have changed. The youth don't think much of Obama.
Well, they didn't when I was talking to them, but I want to broaden out the perspective. I'm here with Richard Fowler. He's a Democratic strategist. He also works with the Young Democrats of America. It was striking when I was at the University of Chicago. I talked to a lot of students. The vast majority of them weren't huge fans of the president, and the ones that were still fans, they weren't enthusiastic. I mean, this is the president's home base. They weren't enthusiastic at all. Are you finding an enthusiasm gap when you talk to the young Democrats that are out there?
Well, thanks for having me, Patty. I think there is an enthusiasm gap. But I think what we've seen from the president in the past couple months is him trying to bridge that gap. We've seen with the Jobs Act, he's pushed parts of the jobs bill that will benefit young people directly. You know, the part that failed in the House, failed in the Senate today, which is the transportation portion, will put young people back to work directly. And those parts are failing. And so I think what he'll begin to do is to start to make the contrast between him and the GOP field. And that's what we'll see the enthusiasm gap close. Because we're just so far out from the election that it's really hard to tell.
Well, now, we do know that the president can give a good speech, but this is a generation, I think, that demands action. Is it going to be enough to say, hey, it's not my fault, Congress won't let me do my job, which is sort of what we're hearing from the White House these days? Well,
I think you're right, Patty. This is a generation that does demand action, and the inaction of the GOP is what the president's going to build his campaign off. The fact that they are not willing to move on pieces of legislation, they would rather deregulate or do nothing. The do-nothing Congress is where the young people will vote. We saw in 2010, the young demographic was the only demographic to stay with the president, to stay with Democrats. And I think going into 2012, they will stay with Democrats. The key is what we can do to turn them out.
For that to be the winning strategy, though, don't the Republicans have to nominate somebody who is extreme, even considered within the Republican Party, someone like a Herman Cain, someone like a Rick Perry? Isn't the nightmare scenario for Democrats that a Mitt Romney or even a third-party candidate gets into this race? Because comparing, hey, I'm better than him, isn't always a winning strategy, especially when it's in such an anti-incumbent sort of attitude that we're seeing all across the country.
Well, not at all. I think if Mitt Romney is a nominee, which seems to be likely to happen, you'll see is that the president will make the contrast between him and Mitt Romney. The president is just like many of the students in your piece from the University of Chicago. He had to pay off his student loans. He had to apply to college. Mitt Romney didn't have to do all those things. The president understands the ills of young people. He understands the ills of our generation, and that's what makes him such a potable candidate and such a potable weapon to get young people to turn out again.
But young people in general don't vote in this country. Usually the turnout, I think it was remarkable, and everyone was applauding because President Obama in his election got 50.5% of that demographic. To the polls, 66% voted for him. In normal elections, it's more at 40%. Doesn't this generation really need to love a candidate or really, really hate the other guy to get out? If you have this sort of milquetoast comparison, is that really going to do it?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think the jury's out, and I think the real simple answer is it's about the economy, stupid. I think the young people are very concerned about the economy and which candidate's going to be the best to navigate us out this economy. And we've seen what 8 years of the GOP and Republican rules and deregulations have done to this economy. And I think young people, they know for a fact they don't want more of that. They might not necessarily like what the White House is dishing out, but they